We're gonna do some P-E-E-C-E. Oh, I should put the quilt up. Do this quilt top pattern you. Hey, this is Lorena and I wanted to make a video on this beautiful, I love this quilt. I mean, I want to do a video on this quilt. I am going to post a pattern on Lorena's Quilting Facebook group. Part of the pattern was a free pattern that a friend of mine found, and that's why this pattern is free. I used the heart pattern that was free. We did a block swap with it, but I created the quilt top pattern, so let's do this. All right, let's start making the hearts. What you're gonna do is you're gonna cut yourself 6.5 inch rectangles, 6.5 inch by 35. And this is the colored part of the heart right there. And then your background color, you're gonna need 2 squares that are 3.5 by 3.5 and four little baby squares that are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. Yeah, they did little. Tiny. So to make the hearts, what I did is I folded the background fabric, the background squares in half. So I had a diagonal cut. Make sure that when you put those squares that they're like this, and then you sew on that fold line that you created. You could mark it or you could fold it, and then you sew there and you trim off the excess and then fold the other part down. That is what makes the bottom of that heart part, okay? Then after that, you're gonna do the same thing on one side of the rectangle, and those little 1 1/4 squares by 1 1/4 squares, you're gonna fold them in half, put them on the corners, make sure they go like this. Yeah, like this. And then you sew where you had that fold line, trim off that excess material and fold it up. And now you have 1/2 of your heart ready to make. You're gonna do 2 of those. After you do 2 of those, you sew the center seam and then you iron it really pretty, and now you have 1 of those heart blocks. Now, when you're making all these heart blocks, you're gonna end up with a whole bunch of scraps when you cut off on the bottom of the heart, a whole bunch of scrap triangles. And what we're gonna do with those is we're gonna use everything we can to make this quilt. We're not gonna throw those away, we're gonna use them. You're not gonna have a drawer of half square triangles because we're gonna use them for this quilt. And we're gonna need more too, but still, use them. All right, after you have all these scrap triangles, you're gonna go ahead and chain piece them together. Just bring them all, sew and sew and sew, every single kind of cut that you have. After you sew and chain piece all those triangles, you're gonna go ahead and get your iron and open those half square triangles up. And then you're gonna get your ruler and you're gonna mark around your ruler 2.5 inch. I use regular tape to put on my ruler. And then on the angle, that's the angle of the triangle, you're gonna start cutting and trimming these half square triangles now into 2.5 inch half square triangles. We're gonna use those little triangles and make some pinwheels and some diamonds out of them, okay? So let's go to that part. When you're making a pinwheel, it's the way you turn that half square triangle to make the pinwheel design. You're gonna sew 2 sections together. Make sure that little kind of connection seam is nice and close together. Sew it down and sew the second part, and then sew the center part, and now you have a pinwheel. The way you put the half square triangles is how you make the diamonds. Make sure that your solid colors are going inward, and now you have diamonds. These pinwheels that you made out of half square triangles and these diamonds that you made out of your scrap half square triangles, you're gonna go ahead and make sure they're 4.5 by 4.5. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make its own individual blocks from pinwheels and from diamonds. So you're gonna cut from all the cuts that you've made when you were making the hearts. You're gonna go ahead and cut yourself, I believe it's a 2.5 inch strip by 4.5 inch rectangle. So you need 2 of them, and you're also gonna need a 2.5 by 2.5 inch colored square. And then we're gonna create this block. You're gonna sew your rectangle to the little square and also the pinwheel to one of your rectangles, and then you're gonna put them together. And now this little block section should be 6.5 by 6.5, because your finished heart should also be 6.5 by 6.5. And now you have all your pieces to put this together. It comes out beautiful, beautiful. Don't get bored with me, okay? I'll add some entertainment. Okay, hold on. All right, row 1, I ended up doing hearts and pinwheels only. And so you could turn them however you want, but I'm gonna share how I did it. I did a heart, pinwheel, heart, pinwheel. And then on row 2, this is row 2, I rotated with diamonds. And what I did is I wanted these 2 squares to kind of connect. But if you want to do this, you could get the pattern on Lorena's Quilting Facebook group. Okay, you don't have to worry about it. And so I just kind of like stitched rows together of hearts and pinwheels and then hearts and diamonds, and I rotated that rotation. Here, I think it was 5 inches, which now this border becomes 4.5. Here, I used 7 inches. Look how pretty she is. Look how pretty the minky is. Oh, that minky. I'm going to quilt her today. Checking the batting, but I'm using minky, but I have my favorite tool. Be careful that you don't overstretch the minky. If you overstretch, it stretches back, and then you'll have, you know how it ripples when you wash it, it'll be worse. Pull very lightly on these. I do want to pull, but not to the point that I warp the border. And then make sure it's nice and laying straight, the batting. These beautiful little flowers. To me, it kind of looks like the leaves are hearts, but it's not. I feel that the quilt has a lot of hearts already, so I don't think the quilting should be. And this is what it looks like. I did it kind of big. I'm checking the tension right now. She's done. You could see like she had a little bit of problems there, and you see the minky popping through. And you change the needle. Oh, she quilts beautiful. Fabulous. I honestly love this quilt. I have a superhero quilt that I think I want to finish. It has Wonder Woman and stuff like that. I want to make it this exact size so I could have a couple of these, so I don't have to share nothing with no one. Look, she has some plushiness. I also wanted to share that I use my little vacuums because I hate how much fur it goes up my nose, and the little vacuums, they work wonderful. Yeah, all right, I'll let you go. Bye.